In response to U.S. strikes on its nuclear facilities, Tehran has vowed to protect itself, with reports suggesting that the Iranian parliament has backed a plan to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And joining us now to help us unpack the implications of the U.S. airstrike on Iran is former National Security Advisor Clarita Carlos. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, Professor, before the weekend, there was a big question mark on whether the U.S. will join this conflict between Iran and Israel. And over the past days, Trump has answered that with an emphatic yes. I guess, first of all, did you expect the U.S. to enter this war?
Oh, they were there from the beginning, so there is no doubt about that. So what are we quibbling about? Yeah, the thing is, before anyone should comment about this, and they should read history. So if they don't read history, then they are just going to listen to skewed reporting on this. And I think you know how much the media has been hijacked by the dominant discourse. And so I'm glad there are many Filipino scholars who are speaking out and really telling it as it should be.
They were there from the beginning. What do you mean by that?
Well, of course, we hark back to the creation of Israel, and we were part of the partition of Palestine, and they were all supported by the United States of America. We did not want the partition of Palestine, but our arms were twisted by the United States, and Filipinos should know this, so we changed our mind about the partition of Palestine. So in a way, we are one of the midwives of the partition of Palestine, which is really the root cause of all this.
Okay, Israel insists that there was imminent attack of a nuclear force from Iran. Do you believe that threat was imminent? Iran, of course, insists that its ambitions were peaceful.
It's one of the biggest lies. You know, they've been saying this for 33 years. And by the way, Trump really did not want war, and the parties were negotiating in Oman. So, I mean, again, you know, you have everything that comes out of Netanyahu's mouth are lies.
Trump didn't want war. Do you believe he was dragged into this?
That was his campaign speech.
Oo.
You listen to
totoo
his
naman
campaign
po.
speeches. Yeah.
Agree, but what explains this move by President Trump then?
Then you have to look at the personality of Trump, you know. To him, he thinks that this is a win, but, you know, there will be more to come, and the more to come, the United States would not want that.
Did Netanyahu appeal to his ego that it led him to endanger the fate of Americans for generations? I mean, is that what you're talking about here?
It's been, it's not only Trump, you know, practically all the politicians in the U.S. are held by their, you know what, by the IPAC, the most powerful lobby in Israel. And most of the leaders there, in fact, are Jews. I'm not saying that they are siding with the Jews. By the way, we should make a distinction between the Jews and the Zionists, because the Zionists have a practically different agenda in Israel. So, you know, I really am flabbergasted when I read comments in the Facebook of people who are making comments which are idiotic and have no basis in history.
Okay, and I kind of understand where you're coming from in terms of saying that there have been lies told, because if you take a look at the facts, if you take a look at the facts, just the nuclear non-proliferation treaty alone, Israel is not a signatory of that treaty, but Iran is. Although there are questions over the accuracy of the reports of Iran and the access given. I mean, tell us more about that. Give us deeper insight into the nuclear technologies involved here.
Okay, let us listen to the scientists, to the experts. And if you listen to Al Jazeera, I mean, don't listen to the other networks, because as I told you, they are really skewed. You know, the narratives are really skewed in favor of Israel and the Americans. If you listen to Grossi of IAEA, Iran is the most inspected country in the whole world, most inspected. And Grossi himself declared many, many times that there is no reason to declare Iran to be, in fact, at the cusp of producing a nuclear weapon. Ang layo pa nila. It will take so many more, uranium enrichment for them to acquire the capability to produce a bomb. And again, we go back to what I'm saying. I think Israel really preempted the negotiations going on because I think Israel knew that they're going back to the JCPOA, which Barack Obama agreed upon with the 4 other members of the Permanent Five, but which Trump the first scratched from the beginning. So, it did not give negotiation a chance. Netanyahu preempted the negotiation happening in Oman.
Okay, so what do you think is really happening here then, if Iran is not really a significant nuclear threat? I mean, is it the vulnerability of the regime of Iran?
Again, we go back to a little bit of history. In 1953, they had a democratically elected government, Mohammad Mossadegh. And the sin of Mossadegh is he nationalized the oil industry because the British were exploiting all the oil industry and the Iranian people were poor. He nationalized it. What did they do? The combined CIA and the intel of Britain overthrew him. Whom did they place there? The Shah of Iran. And the Shah of Iran is in the pocket of the Western world, And after the Shah of Iran, with all his atrocities and his corruption, when he was overthrown, who came in? Somebody who was exiled in Paris, Khomeini. So, when people just make careless and reckless comments about all this, I want them to hark back to their history. I want them to read history written by scholars. Because if they don't, they're not going to understand what's going on.
Correct.
By the way, this is not a beef for Iran. I'm really, as a scholar, I'm really trying to put things in order.
Okay, the Ayatollah overthrew Shah, but are the Iranian people really happy under this current regime? Because the U.S. portrays
it was not the
itself
Ayatollah, by
again
the way.
as a
It was the
savior.
people. It was the people. With all due respect, it was not Ayatollah who. He was in fact someone from Paris. It was the Iranian people who overthrew the Shah of Iran because of his corruption, because of the torturing that he has done. He's a very, very corrupt leader. And I don't know why right now his son is being groomed to replace the Al-Khamenei. Wow, excuse me. Do they know their history? That's why, my hair stands on end whenever I read comments there of people who have nothing between their ears and they have the audacity to make these kinds of comments. Please read your history before opening your mouth or even remarking.
Okay, so do you believe they just saw a window here for a regime change?
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the audacity of one country asking another to overthrow their leaders? It will be the Iranian people who will decide if they want to overthrow their religious leader. It will be the Iranians. And by the way, from another perspective, Iran is one of the most advanced civilizations, even predates China. The cradle of civilization, remember the Tigris, Euphrates, etc., Iraq. So, I hope if and when a war really explodes in our faces there, that they're going to preserve the cultural heritage of Iran. But that's just the problem. Many in Washington, D.C. do not read. And if they read the wrong literature. Please read literature written by scholars, because scholars will look at the documents, will tell you what really had taken place, and will give you a better perspective on what is going on. Right now, I think the parliament had voted that they would like their supreme leader, Al-Khamenei, to make a decision to close the Strait of Hormuz. If I were Khamenei, I will show to Trump and Netanyahu that I'm a bigger person and will not close the Strait of Hormuz, because the Strait of Hormuz will punish the rest of us, because I don't know what percentage it is, I think it's 20%, goes through that narrow strait. But remember, Oman is also part of that strait. So, the shipping can also pass through Oman's waters. But that said, I want Iran really to be the bigger state here, to be the bigger person here, and to forgive Netanyahu and Trump for not knowing their history, and not escalate the war further.
And speaking of the Strait of Hormuz, the Iran parliament has greenlit the plan to close that strait, which, tama po kayo, no? It holds 20% of the world's oil and gas trade. What are the other slew of options in terms of responding here for Iran? Of course, if you take a look at Western media, they would say that it is possible to see a terrorist strike from Iran. They have labeled it as a terrorist strike possibility, but if trying to be more balanced here, what are the slew of options for Iran at this point? Is it too late to get back to the diplomatic table? Is it a show of force that you think Iran will have here as the next step?
We have a multiple choice here. Either the conflict encapsulates and therefore the other big powers, China, Russia, will not come in, and because they know the implication of that, grave really for the rest of the world, a nuclear confrontation. Number two would be, after Iran has shown Netanyahu that, he cannot do this reckless acts and he should be punished, and I think they're being duly punished, at least the Zionists in Israel. And number three, you are correct, go back to the negotiating table. But I think when international law is quickly being violated, then I don't know what moral authority the U.S. has to talk about the rule of law. I mean, they keep on saying even the South China Sea, etc., then let the rule of law prevail, etc. But they're the first ones to violate it. So, are you talking from so many sides of your mouth? So we, the spectators, we are watching this because if the rule of law is openly violated, then where are we? Are we going to be governed by chaos? Dog eat dog? I'm sure we don't want that.
What can the world do at this point to help de-escalate the conflict there? And I guess the question in everyone's minds is, will this or could this lead to World War III?
To me right now, the limited I know, which you also know, I don't think it will spill over into a third world war because, I think the high temperature will be lowered and there will be some tempered guidance all around. But I think, yes, there is still an option to go back to the negotiating table. But now I think Iran will have a stronger hand. And by the way, ironically, what they have telegraphed to Iran is that they are practically incentivizing it to produce nuclear weapons. Because they're saying you are not touching North Korea, you are not touching India, you are not touching Pakistan, rogue states which you consider them. Why? Because they are now members of the nuclear club. I mean, that's the real politic of this all.
All right, I guess we'll see in the coming days the response of Iran to the attacks of the United States. In the meantime, maraming salamat po for weighing in and sharing your thoughts with us. We have former National Security Advisor Clarita Carlos. The Foreign Affairs Department has raised the alert level to level 3 in Israel and Iran. This has prompted the start of voluntary repatriation for Filipinos caught in the crossfire. Now, according to the DFA, 26 OFWs from Israel are expected to cross into Jordan this weekend as part of the repatriation process. They are among the 223 Filipinos who have already filed repatriation requests with the Philippine Embassy. Meanwhile, over 20 Filipinos from Iran have also expressed their desire to return to the Philippines. An expert warns that unless political and nuclear tensions are resolved, the fighting will likely continue.
It's very difficult to say when we could actually see lasting peace. I mean, being honest here. I just, I don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more stories right after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Motorists, brace yourselves. A hefty increase of nearly 5 pesos per liter in fuel prices looms this week. According to the Department of Energy, diesel may rise by up to 4.80 pesos a liter, gasoline by 3 pesos a liter, and kerosene by 4.40 pesos per liter. The DOE said the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran is affecting several oil tanker routes. Now, as a result, global oil prices have surged by nearly $10 per barrel. Iran is one of the key members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. Meanwhile, motorcycle riders voiced their frustrations amid the implementation of the No Contact Apprehension Policy, or NCAP. They said their lane along Commonwealth Avenue has become congested, leading to accidents even among those following the rules. In response, the MMDA is considering narrowing the bike lane to widen the motorcycle lane. But since the bike lane was initiated by the Quezon City LGU, any changes would require coordination with them and the DOTR. The MMDA will consult biker groups this week to gather more input.
Pag-aaralan po natin yung pagdadagdag ng motorcycle lane, hahatiin yung bicycle lane na hindi naman po mawawalan yung mga nagbibisikleta ng linya na safe para sa kanila. Kailangan po natin pagsipan kung paano i-share yan ng hindi rin po delikado para sa kanila.
Ang nangyayari po, nangunguna yung takot mahuli bago yung kaligtasan.
Let's get the reaction from landscape architect and urban planner Paulo Alcazaren on this matter. Good morning. Welcome to our show.
Morning.
Okay, you've heard that piece of news. Yeah. What do you think about, first of all, the trafficking along Commonwealth Avenue and the proposal to narrow the bike lane?
They shouldn't do it.
Shouldn't do what?
Bike lane should be kept, and it's just additional space for the motorcycles can be had. But that is by putting the car lanes on diet. It's a
Kumbaga kumain kayo sa mga sasakyan at huwag sa bisikleta.
Huwag sa bisikleta. And eventually, yan naman kailangan bawasan natin yung espasyo para sa mga kotse. Kasi less than 10%, between 7 and 10% lang ng owners ng cars is using most of the road.
But do you agree with the motorcycle lane in the first place? I mean, there are people saying that it makes the road experience more dangerous for the motorcycle riders ever since the NCAP.
Well, yes, but then it's a matter of getting used to it and getting the discipline to use those lanes and to drive safely.
So agree po kayo sa exclusive motorcycle lane?
Yes.
Na hindi po nakakagewang-gewang yung mga motorsiklo?
That's the source of most of the accidents anyway, as the data has shown.
Although,
swerving.
Okay. So widen the motorcycle lanes,
yes,
but keep the bike lanes.
Yes,
that's your
But that's like a one for all solution. The solution to Commonwealth is specific to Commonwealth being so wide. And I agree with the traffic planner Rob C. Na kailangan ang gawin sa na hindi siya expressway gawin boulevard. The term boulevard means that you have fast traffic, you have slow traffic, you have service traffic. It's a total different reconfiguration of boulevard of expressways to boulevards, because it's not a freeway na hindi pwedeng lumabas. Commonwealth is a corridor where you have a lot of businesses along the side. So what it has to have is a service road, a medium speed traffic, and then the fastest traffic in the center. It's a total different cover. We have to change our mindset about how we configure our roads, because what we're doing now is just one-shot solutions to everything. It's a little complicated, but other countries have found that it works.
So you think there should be like customized road planning per highway?
Yes, it's not a one-shot deal for everything, and a boulevard is a totally different animal to an expressway.
However, yes. I talked to Rob C. also on this show, and he was pitching 30 kph.
Well, that's the other.
In all of our roads.
Well, yes.
Do you think that would work?
Well, we traveled less at that speed anyway. So it doesn't matter if you can't travel any more than that.
Actually, I cross Commonwealth Boulevard almost every day, and yung 60, actually okay na yun, yung 60. For me as a driver, that's the fastest actually. 30 pag traffic. Pero kapag hindi traffic, siguro sabihin natin nasa 40 to 50 on the average.
On the average, but your most of the time will be between 10 and 20. So 30 cap will just tame. It's called traffic taming, and traffic taming will allow the intersections to flow more smoothly. So it's a matter of.
So you agree
I
with
agree.
having the 30 kph on all of the roads?
Well, we can compromise 35. Sige.
Okay, sige, puntahan natin ang EDSA naman, ano?
Yes.
And we know that's the bigger problem here. I mean, what were your thoughts when this EDSA rehabilitation came about, this project? It was first said to be as a preparation for the ASEAN, but it then ballooned into fixing the pavement because it is more than 50 years old.
Yes. Well, it's always been patchwork over the years, no? So they would repair sections of it, but it's not a total rehab. You need a complete rehab. Hindi lang panakipbutas. It has to be done, and it would have been welcome that the rehab would be one lane by one lane. That means masasana yung tao na nawala ng additional lane.
Pero bakit kailangan total? Kasi yun nga, no, parang it's going to cause so much burden on
But then
everyone.
it would last longer. The traffic would flow smoother. It would be less vibration on the vehicles, less repair that you need. In other countries, the standards are very high. Here, it's very low. Especially in it's one of the lowest standards of pavement quality. So we have to really level up because
Kailangan talaga.
Kailangan talaga.
Oo.
You have to do it. It's just like letting your house fall to disrepair and eventually the roof just
Oo,
caves
ano
on.
po ba ang buhay ng pavement, no?
Well, you have to repair constantly, but 10 to 20 years. But it's now
50.
50 years. And besides, it's
way beyond its
way
life.
beyond. And I
Okay.
remember going to UP in the 70s when I show my age. Talagang lubak-lubak yung ano. And the substrate below is not well compacted. So yung pag-aayos yan, hindi lang yung konkreto sa taas. It is also the sub-base.
Which is yung steel po ba yan?
Even underneath that. The steel and the concrete, it goes on top of the gravel and so you have to compact the gravel and the soil underneath where you put the concrete and the rebar. And then the topping is the asphalt. So you have essentially three layers: the compacted subbase, the concrete with the reinforcement, and then the asphalt.
Because when we spoke to Secretary Manny Bonoan and we asked him, what do you think are the most urgent parts to rehabilitate? Sabi niya, yung buo. Kaya parang it gives a sense that parang medyo top surface lang yung i-rehabilitate talaga. Kasi
Pati yung sa ilalim.
lahat
Because,
talaga,
yeah,
pati yung structural integrity of the whole
yung base niya.
thoroughfare.
So they will remove the original concrete na hindi masyadong maganda, but also underneath ipipison yan, i-compact yan. So that means that the preparation underneath. So it's all the way to the foundations of the road itself. But really, the rehab of EDSA is not the complete solution. Is not just the pavement. It's so many other things. It's how you connect the other roads to EDSA. How you do the connections also for people who use the carousel.
Correct.
There's so many things that can be fixed, that need to be fixed, and this would have been this is a great opportunity to do it.
Because I think if the government communicated this more effectively, people would have understood. Like, for example, will this lead to faster travel times along EDSA? Will this lead to more commuters actually being able to
Yes.
cross the highway. Ano po ang kasi years ago there was a plan, no, to have walkways
Elevated
on top
walkways.
of
Yeah.
EDSA.
Yes.
What is the ideal rehabilitation? I mean, for you?
Well, it's really mostly for cars, but there are supposed to be sidewalks to access now carousel and of course all of the establishments along EDSA. Makikitid yung sidewalk. In fact, dito sa Ortigas, you have to walk sideways to use the sidewalk. So the only solution, if you're not getting a lane, is iangat yung elevates. We do elevated car expressways all the time, but why not for people? It's much less expensive.
Pero may ano po di ba yung ano yung tawag doon, Mount Kamuning?
Mount Kamuning
Kamuning.
is over EDSA. Ito naman is on the sides. Because
Hindi yung footbridge na
yung
super
footbridge.
taas.
Pero yung
Oo.
solution dyan is they should have thought about it before they put the MRT. That's either the tunnels or you integrate, kagaya ng, I think yung suggestion ni Secretary Vince is to incorporate it sa MRT station, which is fine. Yeah. So it's lack of planning. But going back to your original, it's really a matter of communication. If you're communicating to the public, ano yung problema, ano yung solution, and what will it will entail in terms of sacrifice on the public itself, I think then it can happen. It's just a matter of communication. At the end of the day, makikinabang naman lahat. So it's just communication.
So, what would the ideal EDSA look to you? How
Well,
would it look to you?
Is all train and very little cars. Train, carousel, bike, sidewalk, and the cars are limited access. And it's a matter of a larger context of the whole transport system. EDSA, C4, C5, C6, and the radials all working together. What we're always focusing on is just single corridors and not looking at the entire system. It has to be system-wide. So Secretary Vince's challenge is really to look at everything in the context of everything else. It's looking at the context of the different modes of transport. And as he started to do walking the walk and really experiencing what everybody goes, 90% of us are really commuters. And we have to ensure yung transfer from tricycle to jeep to bus to MRT. And at the end of the day, at the start and end of the day, it's walking. So sidewalks must also be a priority.
But do you think it is possible to really have sidewalks on EDSA given the limited space? And also, what do you think of the bike lanes
Yes.
at its state now?
At this stage now, it's not ideal. It's not continuous. There are routes. If you're a biker, you know you have to divert yourself every now and then. It's not a straight route. And it will probably never be because it's 20 plus kilometers in any case. So you have alternative routes. So the task is to find ideal routes for all modes of transportation. But there is space. There is space. There is space along Corinthian. There's a buffer area in front of the military camps. There is space. It gets tight in Cubao. You have space in Quezon City past East Avenue. There is space. You just have to be creative about it. So what's lacking is not. We have good engineering, but we do not have good urban design. You see, the engineering is just the roads. But urban design is where you interface the needs of the bikers and the pedestrians into the engineering requirements of the car. So we're not just designing for just a single user, or a single mode, which is the vehicle, but we're also designing for people. The scale and necessities of people walking, people biking are different from necessities of people in the cars. So you have to be an urban designer. It's not just engineering. So that's what we lack in terms of capacity. And the DOTR has started to hire, I know, landscape architects and urban planners and urban designers to assist in creatively finding solutions.
Just as a final point, you posted about Bangkok.
Yes,
and the
I
way
just-
they have designed their roads to be more
aesthetically pleasing,
yeah,
aside
yeah.
from being functional.
Oh,
Yeah. Form follows
what did you
function.
observe there
Well, there is a...
that we could follow here?
Well, we could. It's green. It's greening. It's landscape design along with the infrastructure, and it is possible. Our road islands and verges are awful. They're mostly just escombro and plants that seem to be nuclear leftover. So if we green our infrastructure, then it's more pleasing to the eye. It helps absorb pollution, and it can be done. What we're doing now is just those vertical green walls that never work. But I go back again to the whole context of redesigning our corridors for mobility. There will be enough space for everything, for people, for bikes, for cars, and for nature. Because the original design of EDSA it was tree-lined. I've seen the original 1950s section of even Commonwealth was supposed to be lined with the
And we
four.
forgot about our trees.
We forgot the Department of Public Works had a landscaping department until the 60s, and then it disappeared. They used to plant shade trees. But because of constant widening, nawala yung espasyo para sa mga punong kahoy. And nawala na rin yung departmento. They used to send DPWH engineers to train in highway greening. But now, where's our trees?
I guess the more important question is, are you in contact with Secretary Vince?
Well, I worked with him when he was in Clark for the Central Park design, which hopefully will push through. That's the largest park to be built in the Philippines in the last half century. Hopefully that pushes through.
And I hope the DOTR then listens to your suggestions on this show as we have a more long-term plan for the EDSA rehabilitation. Not sure though, might need a lot of political will to get to that.
That's it. In Metro Manila, you don't have one political will, you have 17.
Oo nga eh. That's true. And that highlights the struggle of our urban design. In the meantime, maraming salamat for joining us this
Thank you
morning.
very much.
Weighing in, we have landscape architect and urban planner, Paolo Alcazaren. Stay tuned, and Morning Matters will be back right after a quick break. Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho, and here at Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind the headlines. An AI-generated video released by PLDT and Smart is now making rounds online, drawing attention to the growing danger of manipulated content on the internet. The viral campaign aims to raise awareness on how easily deepfakes and digital scams can be created using advanced technology. It urges the public to stay critical and cyber-aware. Now, PLDT and Smart are calling on netizens to help spread the message and protect one another from tech-driven deception. I believe we have to play that video first again, but we have our first Vice President Head for Public Engagement at PLDT, Robbie Alampay, to talk more about that. Later, papanoorin natin yung video ulit, no, para mas maintindihan ng publiko yung pinag-uusapan natin. But tell us about this campaign. Is it really that alarming now? I mean, given what AI can do?
Well, first of all, Gretch, maraming salamat for
Oo nga,
having
no?
me
Oo,
having me
salamat
back.
pala.
Salamat po.
The big story pala to.
Salamat po sa inyo. Okay, anyway, yeah, I mean, I think we've all seen it. Diba? I think we've all seen AI-generated videos, and even prior to that, this whole talk about fake news, fake videos, has been a concern for a long time. So the technology is new, but the concern is not. And as we've said, and as we've seen, and as we've said in the video, even old scams will always try to use the latest technology, and that's all we're saying. There's nothing new with the scams. There's nothing new with the concern about disinformation and fake news. But I think we all feel it, diba? I mean, we're all consuming a lot of fake videos now, or at least AI-generated videos. And we're all now starting to see, how this can be used and how a lot of the people that we care about, who might be more vulnerable than others in consuming this, could, as you said, be vulnerable and be at risk.
Okay, mamaya pag-uusapan pa natin more of that. But let's play the video first so our audience knows what we're talking about. Here is the latest campaign of PLDT and Smart.
Lahat po ng mapapanood ninyo sa susunod na mga eksena ay fake. Tandaan niyo po yan.
Ngayon, sobrang dali na gumawa ng fake na video. Muka, boses, pwedeng gayahin. Parang totoo, pero hindi.
Yung fake videos, pwedeng gamitin yan para manghingi ng OTP, password, o mag-spread ng maling impormasyon. Gaya nito.
Bro, legit to. High return in just 3 months. Wala kang gagawin.
Oh, boss, bayad ka. Minimum lang 50,000. May 100,000 ka na bukas.
Oops, fake lahat to. Pati kami FAK.
Nanalo ako. Pero kailangan daw ng 1,000 pesos. Tsaka OTP. Anong OTP?
Inday, na-aksidente si sir. Nasa ospital. Karon dayon nagpadala og kwarta.
Unsa? Ay, fake pala ako. Pati itong buong eksena.
Good morning po. May promo tayo ngayon. Tataasan natin ang credit limit ninyo.
Alright.
Pakisend po ng picture ng credit card nyo.
Oops, fake to.
Ingat tayong lahat sa fake. Gaya namin.
Lahat kami dito fake.
Pakipadala ng email address at phone number. Oops, fake ako.
Sorry, tita. Fake ako.
Ow, I miss you.
Sorry. Fake kami.
Gagawa ko ng batas na lahat ng senior high school students kailangan mag-necktie.
Bakit po necktie, sir?
Sa ikauunlad ng bayan, neckties ang kailangan. Ay, fake pala ako, pati itong press con.
Fake news and fake videos will become an even bigger problem. Pati lahat ito fake.
Ang nakakagulat, sobrang dali na gumawa ng video gamit ang AI. Sobrang galing na nito at gagaling pa.
Ang good news, mukhang mas madaling gumawa ng AI-generated video kesa magpaloko, kahit gano'ng kagaling pa yan. Lalo na kaming mga kabataan ngayon, hindi na kami basta-basta maluloko.
Hindi mo kami maluloko, AI.
Gayunpaman, there are people we care about who can fall for this. At aminin, baka one day, mabiktima ka rin.
Saka sa totoo lang, lahat ng scam na to, lumana. But we've seen that every old scam tries to use the newest technology.
We have also seen that even the oldest scams and the newest toys are no match for knowledge, awareness, and watching out for each other.
Kaya let's be aware. Magtulungan tayo na maintindihan ng bawat isa ang mga nakikita at napapanood natin.
Uulitin ko lang ha, ang lahat ng nakita nyo, fake. Walang totoong tao dito. Pati ako fake. Okay, thanks, bye.
Galing, ah. Oo, mahal siguro yun.
No, it really was not.
Pag naging commercial.
No, but
totoo.
it's a good point. It really it was not expensive at all. In fact, our team put that together in 3 hours. And this was not only that. We put that together in 3 hours. That includes yung fumbling with the platform, because this was the first time a lot of our team members tried to create something using that platform.
Kasama na yun sa 3 hours.
Kasama na yun, yung mga mali-mali and so on. But this is a platform that everybody has access to. It's free. It's
What platform?
Veo. This is a platform of Google. So if you have a Google account, you can create that. Not that we're promoting Google or any particular platform, but just to tell everyone, this is accessible. It's free. It's easy to use. You can play around with it even now. Basta may internet access ka, you can play around with it. You can create your own video. Ang punto lang na sinasabi ko is it's that easy, and it only took us, like I said, 3 hours to put all of that together. And that's the first thing that people have to understand. Kung madaling gawin yan ng kahit sino, hindi lang ikaw. And not everybody will have the same benign or feel good or just good intentions. There will be people, and even if they're in the minority, there will be people who will be more unscrupulous than you, who will be using this in malicious
What
ways.
scared you in the process, you and your team?
Well, one, how easy it is. So, sabay yun, di ba? Parang wow, may wow factor. At the same time, may scary factor na kung ganito kadali ito for me, paano pa yung mga kinakarir to? 'Di ba? Yung mga ikakarir. And then you can now imagine many ways that this can be used. Again, ulitin ko, wala namang bago sa scam eh. 'Di ba? It's going to be, they're going to be using the same modus, same scams. Scams really play not on with technology but with human nature. And yun talaga yung vulnerability mo bilang tao. Madali ka magtiwala. And yun pa rin ang
Gusto mo ng malaking kita.
Yun pa rin. Exactly. You want easy money. Yun pa rin ang biggest weakness.
Hindi ba halata na AI-generated naman yan?
Ikaw, you tell me. Was it?
Pag masyadong, parang magmukhang computer-generated, makikita mo naman eh.
Yeah, but
Hindi ba?
ewan ko, ako anecdotal, nung pinakita ko to sa mga tao, including mga kaibigan ko, pinakita ko, sabi ko, ipopost namin to. I had friends who said, uy, ang galing, tamang-tama yung message. And then they asked me, sino yung mga artista? There are people, kaya nasabi natin, sa kabataan lalo na, I think they're more savvy. It's easier for them to say na hindi, AI yan. Also, sometimes hindi obvious, but they default to assuming na baka AI yan. So there are people who, but the more important point is, kahit na ikaw mahuli mo, there will be people, kay majority yon or fewer, there will be people who will be vulnerable to this at maniniwala at hindi ganun kadali for them to detect it.
You've been playing with these AI platforms for quite a while.
A lot.
How far has the technology gone?
Malaki na yung tinalon. I'll give you an example. In this particular platform, yung Veo 3 in particular ng Google. The first time I saw it about a month ago or a little more than that, sabi ko, paglaruan ko, di ba? And my daughter had an occasion to celebrate. She got her driver's license. And so sabi ko, gagawa ako, babatiin ko siya. So binati ko siya, I created I asked it to generate...
Ginamit mo mukha mo?
Hindi. I asked it to generate a cheerleading squad in the Philippines and then babatiin siya, congratulations, pero ingat ka. And when I did that 6 weeks ago, I had to prompt it in English because it couldn't handle Filipino. No? We did this last week. In other words, in a space of 5 weeks, the ability to do text-to-voice in Filipino, it was not there 5 weeks ago and then 5 weeks later, kaya ko na mag-prompt in Filipino. Nakita niyo, meron pang characters na may Visayan accent and so iba-iba yung accent ng I call it neutral middle-class Filipino English, kaya Taglish. And that was just in the space of 5 weeks. We also saw I think a few months ago, you started seeing fake videos of politicians and business leaders and celebrities na supposedly nag-i-endorse ng Bitcoin, supposedly nag-i-endorse ng mga cryptocurrency. And if you look back on that, ang sama ng mga videos. Diba? And if you look now, malaki na talaga yung in-improve. So
is that automatic machine learning? Or
I would
program
imagine.
Pa yan?
I would imagine. But I think the more important thing to stress to people is it's not about the technology, really. Because even with bad video, even with bad technology, gagamitin yan to scam. Remember itong kawawa naman na Alice sa France na nagpabudol siya. Akala niya, ang kachat niya si Brad Pitt. Remember that? Yeah, there's this old lady in France. And all along, she thought she was chatting with Brad Pitt, na na-hospital daw si Brad Pitt. At si Brad Pitt, for whatever convoluted reason, needed her help. And she sent money. But what was really, ang mas nakakagulat doon was when you see the pictures, not even videos, when you see the still pictures of Brad Pitt in a hospital, ang sama ng pagkaka-Photoshop. Talagang
siguro akala niya masama yung phone ni Brad Pitt.
Ay, hindi. But these are totoo yun. Totoo yun. But ang point is, it's not the technology that will get you. It is your own human nature. And
Making us more prone to scams and catfishing.
No, exactly. Kasi nagtitiwala tayo. We'd like to believe that everybody out there is good. So a little awareness that meron pong mga malicious people out there, meron mga gustong mambudol. That awareness and that conversation is enough. Or is a good start already. And that's really what we wanted to say here, that ikaw baka hindi ka magpabudol, baka hindi ka magpauto. But there are people around us that we care about.
Sa ngayon pa nga lang, di ba marami na nabubudol sa mga scam, no? What more if you have that, and also it could be used to have an actual conversation, di ba?
Yes.
Kung wari may papadala ka ng video pero hindi. Pero have we figured out the answer to the question, how do we embrace AI now? I mean, in terms of the way we do our jobs and the way we should be concerned for our jobs and the way we integrate it into our lives. Paano nga ba natin, I mean, minsan, in the US, they're kind of panicking over losing white-collar jobs already. Here in the Philippines, usually we follow the trajectory after mga 2 to 3 years, di ba? So how should we look at AI now?
Actually, pag minsan nga, ang mga Pilipino nauuna tayo. Sometimes we're farther ahead in the at the edge when it comes to new technology. I have no answer. When we did this campaign, it was really trying to address, the objectives was really trying to address, scams. Because, we're in the telco business, we are in fintech, we are part and parcel of the lives of Filipinos at PLDT and Smart. And alam namin that we have a lot of constituents and users who can get victimized. So this video and all our long-standing campaigns against disinformation is really geared towards that. The conversation about AI and how it will impact on jobs, mas mahirap, mas masalimuot yan. But ako, personally, if you ask me, I have two things that I tell people if they ask me for my opinion. One is, I use it. I'm a big user of AI. I do believe that it increases my productivity. But my guideline for myself is on 2 levels. One is, I'll be transparent about it. So let's all be transparent about it. Magpakatotoo na tayong lahat. My kids use it, my
gumagamit
friends
tayo ng AI.
Yeah, gumagamit. And there's no shame. Ako personally,
parang
if you
Google
use
na
it,
siya Tama.
Well, there's a conversation about that. I wouldn't use it necessarily as
Google,
as Google.
because you have to verify.
Yes, exactly. But that brings to my first point. So my second point. My first point is, be transparent about it, and let's all use it. Because when we're transparent, then we can all share both the positive as well as the risks that we discover, as well as the limitations. So magturuan tayo. We teach each other. My second is, kahit anong gawin mo sa AI, sa'yo yan. That's your accountability. And for me personally, I'd like to think that helps me to navigate the positive and then the negative. What do we mean when I say na at the end of the day, you have to be accountable. You can't blame AI kung may mali kang sinubmit, kung may mali kang pinublish, kung may mali kang sinabi. Walang sisihan sa AI, 'di ba? Cargo mo yan.
Parang Wikipedia.
Exactly, parang Wikipedia. 'Di ba? Parang you cannot submit a term paper, for example, if you're a student.
You have to double check.
Not only that, kung nahuli ka na nag-plagiarize ka, kung nahuli ka na nag-cut and paste ka lang, kung nahuli ka na hindi mo naintindihan yung sinubmit mo, kung nahuli ka na mali or hallucinations yung mga you cannot blame technology ever. At the end of the day, sa'yo yan. And reminding yourself that at the end of the day, the accountability is yours. My personal view is that brings you a long way in helping to navigate any new technology.
Which reminds me of what Berhel Santos posted or said recently. Sabi niya, yung mga walang natural intelligence lang daw gumagamit ng AI.
Well, alam mo, respetado ko si Sir Berhel. But ako, I really think I think it's really, I get what he's saying. But I really think it's may unintended consequences in trying to say to people na yung wala lang natural intelligence ang gumagamit. That's absolutely not true. I think people should understand that this is new technology, that this is a tool, and it really can help you to raise your productivity. It can improve your content. It can improve your products. And the downside to diminishing people who use it is, one, it kills the conversation. It kills a constructive conversation. Secondly, it pushes people to extremes, if not into hiding or going underground. And it goes to my first point, diba? When you kill the transparency in how we all work, it takes away not only takes away a lot of opportunities, it increases risks. Where you have people
mas mabilis
walking...
maloko because...
yes. And when you have people walking around with secrets because you don't want to be... Ayaw mong matawag ka na wala ka natural intelligence. One, it's not only not true, but that shame campaign is really counterproductive.
To be honest, there's a rising trend now that people are using ChatGPT as a therapist. Paggabi, yun ang tinatanong nila, kinakausap nila, no? I mean, not only is it knowledgeable, it is available 24/7. So kahit gabi, kahit late in the midnight, kausap mo.
Yeah.
Pero itong ginamit niyong platform, libre ba? Were you able
Libre
to
yan. Libre yan.
All of that for free?
I mean, like I said, if you have a Google account, you can try it yourself.
Grabe.
And may quota ka lang. Parang I think right now may quota ka of 5 videos per day.
There's
But then you can pay. So parang freemium
on the other side of the world, we're talking about an arms race, nuclear arms race, but there's also an arms race in terms of AI. China trying to outpace US I mean, parang meron pang pinag-uusapang may humanoids, AI robots, meron na ring self-driving cars. How far are you seeing this technology go, and what are the efforts of PLDT and Smart in terms of incorporating AI?
Well, yung last part ng question mo is easy to answer. Yung first part, address ko lang, I'm not a technology expert, I'm not a technologist. I'm like everybody else here lang. That on the one hand, my wow factor for me. On the other hand, I use it. And then on a deeper level, I'm also concerned na, ano yung mga risks dito. All of that said, PLDT and Smart are we are going to leverage AI to improve every aspect of the service that we would like to deliver. It helps us to understand our efficiencies on the one hand and improve our efficiencies, not only on the technology side, not only on the back end, but also in dealing with customers. You can imagine we get a lot of not just calls but even comments. AI can help us to understand, everybody out there who's pati yung mga nagtotroll sa PLDT at sa Smart, pati kasama yung mga nagpupuri, kasama yung mga humihingi ng tulong, yung mga nagtatanong. It's impossible for humans to keep track of literally the thousands. But AI can help us to have a general sense of ano ba yung concerns ng mga tao.
And I have a feeling that this is a time for people to reflect on how they can upskill, reskill, relearn things. Tama ka doon, no? Kasi kausap ko yung PLDT at parang AI na yung kausap ko sa Messenger at saka sa telepono. Doon sa disconnection notice ko, nagbayad. Late ako nagbayad. Pero it's an amazing campaign. I think it's a good direction for PLDT and Smart in terms of helping us see where this is all headed. But thank you so much for showing us the potential of AI this morning. We have Robbie Alampay, First Vice President and Head of Public Engagement and Corporate Communications at PLDT and Smart. First time to introduce you with that.
No nga.
Pwede tayo mag-extend ngayon kasi walang pwede magreklamo. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. You're One News, all sides, all the time.